Hey everybody, I'm Ultron from the Bureau of Internet Culture, and today I have a very special guest. He is the creator of the iconic Elon I Drew You sketch that was tokenized to create the first real-world asset meme coin, ElonRWA. Watchieboy, good afternoon, sir, and thank you for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So this has been quite a journey, and we'll get into that a lot. But before any of this started, were you into crypto at all?
Yeah, so I bought my first crypto in like 2019 actually, but I haven't been like heavily involved. I've kind of been like interested from the side and kind of dabbled in it, you could say.
So it's been very interesting. I mean, this whole process, and we talked a little before the show. We talked about this a little bit, just with your relationship with Lil Dojo, and we'll get into that a little. But so back in 2019, when you made this sketch, that's turned out to be a very famous sketch that's been shared all over Reddit. But what was your inspiration behind making this?
Yeah, um, I've liked Elon for like quite a while, I would say, maybe like a decade back or so. Like I think it's very inspiring what he's doing with SpaceX and with Tesla. Um, yeah, and I like drawing a lot at the time, especially portraits, and I like drawing people, historical figures, pop artists, and stuff like that. So yeah, I just decided to draw Elon because why not? He's a cool guy, in my opinion.
And probably, one of the most influential people in the world, whether it's through tech, science, pop culture. So this certainly makes a lot of sense. So you create this sketch, you share it on Reddit, and it absolutely blows up on Reddit. Were you surprised at the reaction?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it blew up like 2 years after I posted it on Reddit. And I had kind of forgotten about the sketch completely. And then, like, one day in 2021, I think, I log into Reddit and I have some, like, private messages telling me that this sketch I made 2 years earlier has, like, completely blown up on Twitter. And I'm, like, completely blown away, kind of. I don't really know what's going on. And then I go onto the page of Elon Musk on Twitter, and I think I choose like the first tweet that he made, and like the first reply is this sketch that I made 2 years earlier, and that's like, yeah, it was quite a bizarre experience.
That's got to be pretty mind blowing, right? I mean, I feel like a lot of times on social media, Reddit, Twitter, what have you, it feels like a lot of times we're just talking into the void, right? It's like, does anybody see this at all? Like, you post this 2 years later, you have one of the most famous people in the world commenting on this. That must have been a crazy thing.
Yeah, definitely, it felt very surreal. I mean, I don't think I really grasped what like even happened. It's all very kind of away from you in a way because it's all on the internet. You don't really see like the people interacting with that drawing. You just see like um, accounts on Twitter and text basically. So like it's a big thing, but at the same time it's kind of difficult to see just how big it is.
I remember about that time, Lil Dojo had showed it to me, and we were talking about it, and he loved it. He's always admired Elon Musk as well for his contributions just to humanity and what he's done and what he continues to do with Tesla and SpaceX. And we had talked about it at the time. Tell us a little bit about him approaching you and how you actually ended up selling him the sketch itself.
Yeah, so this was around 2021 during the spring. And so, yeah, 2 years after I made the sketch and posted it on Reddit. And I think in March is when I realized that it had become so popular on Twitter. And Dojo contacted me about a month or 2 months later. And he told me he was interested in buying the drawing. And I said that, yeah, sure, like for the right price. I was somewhat attached to the drawing because of the kind of impact that it had had on Twitter. But I said that if you offer me the right price, I will sell it to you. I felt was good. So I shipped it over to him, and I guess the rest is history.
I remember him telling me about doing it, and he was excited about it. He didn't know what he would do with the sketch at the time. He just knew that he knew the value of it. He thought it was undervalued, and he just felt he loved the idea of like a real world meme that exists in the real world, and also obviously on Twitter and Reddit and everywhere we saw it. And he had a vision for that, that a lot of people did not. So he had reached out to you to get it. Wasn't sure exactly what he would do with it at the time. And I remember all of us kind of talking about it for, maybe a year or more, talking about what the best way to do this. Tell us a little bit about when he reached out to you about creating Elon RWA.
Yeah, so at first I didn't completely understand like the kind of vision that he had. Um, you know, he talked about this idea of a meme coin based on the drawing that he had. And I was like, sure, it sounds like an interesting idea. You know, Elon has himself kind of been somewhat involved in meme coins, especially Dogecoin. So it also made sense in that way to combine the two. And it was really like when those first wall in Texas was built and then the statue. That's like when I really realized what the project was about. And yeah, I think it's like when you actually do something in the real world, it's a lot easier to see what a project aims to do compared to if, yeah, you only post things on the internet. It kind of becomes a lot more real when you actually do something out in the world. And yeah, I think the whole idea is very interesting to combine this drawing with this cryptocurrency.
Dojo is, like I said, a very good friend of mine, also a very talented artist in his own right. And I think for him, like his vision of being able to say, like blending the line between in real life art, out in the real world in digital art, I thought was very, very inspiring. I know when you sold him the sketch, I know that you also minted it as an NFT to send over to him. And then when Elon RWA was created, you also got some stake in that as well, right? You also have some tokens that you still hold, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Dojo was super generous to give me first 2.5% of the supply, and then after this recent burn, um, 1.25%. So half of the supply that I got was burnt. So I'm still holding around 1.25% of the entire supply, which I'm super grateful for that he chose to involve me in this way and giving a part of the supply to me.
I know that was very important to him, and also, for him, he wanted to make sure that you would be involved and that you would benefit from this. And it's something that we do with all of our projects, with all of us, and with the Bureau of Internet Culture. It's something that we believe in very passionately. When you see, and now, and you had mentioned that as you see these things built in the real world, it kind of becomes more real. I mean, it must be crazy for you and to see like some of the things that they've built out in Brownsville, like based on your art.
Yeah, exactly. It's super. It's like very exciting, but also kind of absurd in a way that this drawing I made like 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago now, is now like both has like led to this wall in Texas and also this statue. It's like yeah, it would have been completely impossible to even imagine this when I was sitting there in my room drawing this Elon Musk drawing and deciding to post it on Reddit, like in case I could get some advice and improve my drawing skills.
It's an incredible thing, and I think it just goes to, the mimetic potential of things, and to see it blow up that way, especially something that you create, you put it out in the world, and then, it does what it does. For this to have been gone out, have been seen by Elon, he's commented on it like multiple times. I've seen a lot of those tweets. They are hilarious. And then to see these real world things be built, I think is very, very cool. As you look at it now, what do you see as like the future of the project? What excites you about it? and tell us a little bit about the journey since. Like, are you excited about what you've seen? I mean, we've seen, and I don't want to go into too much price, but we've seen a lot of attention on the project recently in the last month or so. Have you been watching this? Have you stayed really closely involved? Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I have like 1.25% of the supply, and while I try to like not focus on it too much, it's like become quite a bit of money the past few weeks or so, which makes it kind of difficult to like, yeah, not only focus on the price, but I think um, it shouldn't only be about the price, this thing. It's also about, you know, having fun, really. Like building this wall, building this statue. It's like a fun thing to do and something people can laugh about. It's the same about the drawing, really. It makes me happy that it's been spread so much and people can laugh about it. And yeah, that's really important, in my opinion. And then, of course, like everything in cryptocurrency is very money focused, and any project in cryptocurrency is going to be focused on money. But I think the more you can focus on other stuff and focus on having fun, the better the project is. And I think this project is very focused on that, on having fun and doing fun stuff, basically, and having a laugh. And that's why I would say that I like this project. That's a big reason why.
I think that's a great point, and I think part of what I've seen from this project and part of what we've done is just to celebrate meme culture. Whether it's building things out in Brownsville, whether it's taking the statue and bringing that through. Went to a University of Texas game recently, and they're tailgating with this statue, the statue that's based on your art. I think it's very, very cool to see this as a celebration of meme culture. What did you think when you saw, and it's one thing when you saw the wall, obviously it is very, very cool, but when you saw the statue, this giant statue that's based on your art, what was your reaction to that?
Yeah, I was kind of mind blown. Um, it's you don't really realize how big it was, or I didn't at least from the original, like the first pictures with only the statue. But then I've seen more pictures with people standing in front of the statue, and then you see that this statue is actually like very, very big. So yeah, hopefully sometime in the future I can come to Texas and see it in person. That would be really cool.
That would be a fantastic photo op. I was blown away. I remember when Dojo told me when we were discussing it, and he said he wanted to build this statue. Um, how incredible this idea was, and I couldn't even imagine what it was going to look like until I actually saw it. We've had some incredible reactions to it, and the fact that it's literally in Brownsville. If anybody isn't familiar with the area in Brownsville, Texas, this is like on the road to SpaceX, where this is placed. And we actually had another co-founder, Luis, who had actually gone down there and was actually going and talking to people in Brownsville to create relationships there and to be able to build these things. Did an incredible job for us out there. Absolutely tremendous. And it is just such a cool thing to have built that, like on the road to SpaceX, knowing that obviously Elon has seen the sketch because he's commented on it on Twitter, but he's going to have to drive by it on his way to work. I think that's a very cool thing.
Yeah, that's a funny thought of seeing him like seeing that big statue and that big wall on the way to work and be like, what the hell is this? Yeah, it's a funny idea.
It's a funny thing to see how IRL art and digital art and kind of blurring that line the way that they have. In building something like that is built and is to celebrate meme culture in the way that it is, I think is very, very cool and very exciting. And also, as we've built this and as we've done this, I mean, some of our guys have done such a tremendous job of building this into the culture in Brownsville, and meeting people and connecting with people over this, showing them not just the statue, but just in meme culture in general and the way that it can connect people. in that area, I think is very, very special. And also, it's probably, and I haven't been out there yet myself. I will at some point, but I've been told it's a great place to watch launches too. And I think that would be very cool to go out there for an actual SpaceX launch and be able to watch it next to the statue and next to the wall. I think would be very, very cool.
Yeah, definitely. That would be cool. Yeah, like as you say, it brings people together and like gets um, yeah, it makes people laugh and it brings emotions out of people, which is really everything that art is about. So in a way, it encapsulates that this project.
I think that's such a cool thing to hear. For me, I'm not a very creative guy myself, but I'm so fascinated by artists and like what inspires artists to create the things that they create. And like when you're making something, and this isn't the only thing that you've made. Of course, this is very famous, but as an artist, you've created many things. What usually is your inspiration to create something? Is it to create emotion from the people that see it? Like, what inspires you to create the things that you make?
I think creation is a lot about just creating itself. It doesn't have to result in a great artwork or yeah, it's really about getting something out from like getting an idea from your mind out into the real world, which could be any idea really. And some ideas kind of stroke a chord more with people, and some ideas don't. But really, the act of creation is just getting this idea from your mind out into the world. And I think that's really what art is about.
It's such a fascinating thing to me, and I have this conversation. I know a few other artists, and I've been very fortunate to be able to work with some very talented artists and some very talented people. And I'm always fascinated by that. And I always ask them that question, like what inspires them to make the things that they do. Um, and I think that it's very, very cool. And I appreciate that. What else? So is there anything else that you're working on that you want to tell us about?
Not really at the moment, actually.
Yeah, this has been a huge thing to be able to watch this and to be able to watch this being built. It's a huge thing. I know that I have been very excited to talk to you. I've talked to Dojo about it too, and I remember just like because obviously, like you mentioned, this is also, I mean, this is an iconic piece of art, just on its own. But now, as it's been created as a real world asset, meme coin, it's also crypto, right? So we're in the TG, we're talking to some of these people. And everybody has a lot of questions about you and just wanting to talk to you and learn more about you. So I really appreciate the opportunity to do this today.
All right. Yeah, it was nice talking with you as well. And yeah, being able to talk about this cool project. I'm looking forward to see everything that is to come.
Yeah, and we have a lot more planned. I mean, just I'm a small part of the team. I mean, there's some incredibly talented people that work on this and are very, very passionate about this. But there's a lot more to come. I know that there's a lot more they want to build, that there's a lot more they want to create. So we're excited about that. If somebody wants to be able to follow you and everything else that you're doing, what's the best way to follow you?
Yeah, so I have my X handle is Watchieboy. I haven't posted much there, but maybe I will start in the future. We will see. But if you want to follow me in case I post something, it will be there.
I definitely will do that, and I hope you do. I mean, people are very, very interested in learning more about you. I hope you do. And also, if people want to keep track of the project itself, you can follow us on Twitter. It's at ElonRWA on Twitter. There'll be a lot more information about the project itself. So, thank you very much for joining us. Is there anything that you want to leave out, if that you want to leave for everybody, and maybe a final comment for everyone?
Thanks for having me, first of all. Um, Basically, I'm just excited to see how this project evolves and what's to come, all the future projects that you have in mind to realize. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on, and hopefully we can do this again. And for anybody listening, thank you very much for joining us, and have a great night. Thank you.
Thanks.